Hello everyone and welcome to today's healing subscription. It is Equinox time, I think. I don't really do well with all these dates and things, but yes, I am here and you are here, and that's all that matters. So for today's session, I have put some tachyons on Bob over here, and so I will show you images of that in a moment. And I've also combined that with the Wands of Horus cards, and so I'll guide you through all the tachyons in their placements, why they're there, and then we're going to see how they all fit together. So as always, I've done all the dowsing beforehand, done all the testing, and so we'll see what comes up, and it's up to you how you're going to interpret this and how you are going to put this together for you and for your intention. So speaking of intention, let's start with the intention first. So perhaps close your eyes for a moment. Just take a deep breath in and out. Take another cleansing breath in and out. And then perhaps another cleansing breath in and out. And just take a moment to think about your intention for today's session. What would you like to release? What would you like to receive? What would you like to bring into your life, manifest? What would you like to heal? Just gather your thoughts, gather your mind, gather your intention. And when you're ready, you may gently open your eyes and allow your eyes to rest on the light code that we're using for our connection today. Perhaps your eyes want to rest somewhere, or perhaps they want to move around and trace the lines. Focus on your intention while you do this, and as always with these light code activations, there's no direction, so you may choose to start tracing from the top down or from the bottom up. This is like a mental labyrinth. As you scan with your eyes, you may find that they get stuck on certain corners or twists, and just pay attention to that, be aware of that. And keep your focus on your intention and your goal for today's session, whatever that may be. And spend as much time here as you need. You may pause the recording if you need to. And when you're ready, we're going to move into today's session. Okay, so here's Bob, or my remote healing poster, and I've got all of the tachyons in place. So this is the photo was taken when I had just placed out all of the tachyons in their locations, and then after that I added the Wands of Horus cards. So what I'm going to do is, there's some of the tachyons here are quite standard, and I will not be going over their locations. For example, if you look at the tachyon furthest to the right, that one is a clear spiral pyramid, and it's always a clear spiral pyramid no matter what session we do with tachyons. So that one is to anchor in the energy. If we look over to the left, there's a sort of a gold purple one, and then just to the right of that one there's another clear spiral pyramid. It's not too clear in the image, but hopefully you see that. And so what the top spiral pyramid does is it pulls the energy in from source, and then the bottom one pulls that through the system, and it anchors and grounds it in, so it creates this flush of energy through the system. So it's like you are in a beam of light. so I will not be going over those again. Then the ones sitting on the feet and between the ankles, those are rainbow spiral pyramids. They are always rainbow spiral pyramids. So the purpose for them is to draw out electro-smog and radiation from cell phones, televisions, microwave ovens, just electricity in general, and geopathic stress. So as this beam of light flashes through the entire body, the ones in the feet gathers all the EMF and electrosmog, and it pulls that out of the system as well and into the earth. On the knees we have rainbow spiral pyramids as well. So these are sort of typical for this location, but usually when these come up, it could indicate that there's perhaps questions about your movement in life, like moving out of the past or moving into a new future. Perhaps there's an event coming up that you're not really looking forward to attending. Perhaps there is something you're really looking forward to attending or going to, but you don't know how. Perhaps it's a new course or something or a new beginning, and there's doubts or worries about stepping into that new energy and stepping out of the old energy. So those are the lower ones, and I've actually got a close-up image that I'm going to be working with for the rest of the body. So let's quickly just get to the closer image. On the hands, we've got the iridescent, purify, sanctify, and protect. And so these energies are, so our hands are a connection to the heart center and also an extension to the heart. So it brings energy into the heart, and it also removes energy from the heart and out into the world. So there's an exchange happening. And the purify, sanctify, protect allows us, our energy, to be purified and then sanctified, and then to have almost like a protective shield around us. Then on the base chakra, so now I'm going to start all the way from the from the right hand side, and I'm going to work my way up towards the left. So the first one we have is a red spiral pyramid. Where's my brain? Red spiral sun. And that is okay. So base chakra I'm actually not worried with today. On the hips we've got a red tree of life, also not too worried over there. So with the tree of life on the hips or any of those major joints, it gives us stability and structure. And so we've actually got all of the tools that we've got. So our hips usually carry the intentions and the motivations in life, and then the pelvic bowl is the purpose. So our intention with our motivation creates our purpose. And so in this case we've got this red tree of lives, and they're all sitting nicely with the red spiral sun, so not too worried over there. On the ovary points, and this is for men and for women, so it's not just if you have ovaries, even if you've got ovaries that's been removed, it's still there etherically. This is just a chakra point, a minor chakra point that is sitting in the location of the ovary, so we just call them the ovary chakras. These ones have pink pyramids. Color wise, it's a good color to have here. Pyramids usually means there's a depletion of energy, so it could be that creative energies in general is maybe a little bit depleted, or it could be that there's a spark of creativity and you may not know exactly how to put it out there. So we bring a lot of energy into this. On the other end, it could also be that you've got so much creativity that you can't keep up with it, and it's almost like you need a refill, like you are so creative that you're running out of juice, and we just need to replenish that. And then on your Hara point, just above the two pink pyramids, we've got a magenta spiral sun, and there's a sphere on it as well, so a magenta sphere. Color wise, not an issue. Shape wise, the spiral sun would be a little bit weak, I feel, for the Hara. Usually I'm looking for a pyramid or something, but because the sphere is sitting on there, that energizes or enhances the energy. But it does let us know that on a more physical level, closer to the physical level, the Hara is not too happy. So the Hara line is, if you take those clear spiral pyramids in the top and the bottom, that creates this beam of light through the body. You can imagine that that would be your Hara line. and this needs to always be in alignment, so that it anchors or connects us to heaven and anchors us into the earth, and this is this really straight line. And so what could happen in life is things can knock that off course a little bit, could be a little bit bent or even broken. And so we want that to bring it back into alignment. So the sphere on there says that it's bringing a smoothing energy in. So something in the hara is not too happy. We're not too anchored or grounded into the earth and into the heavens. And so there's just a smoothing happening out there. The sacral chakra has a gold spiral sun. Now, gold, here we would really want to see orange. So to see gold would indicate that the sacral is maybe a little bit depleted, and we need to give it a little bit of boost of energy. This is also our creative center, so this will tie in with our ovary points. And the gold brings in that ray of sunshine, that joy, the happiness, the ease, the flow that may be lacking within the sacral at the moment. Just next to the sacral, a little bit above that, we've got two magenta tree of lives, and these would sit on the ascending descending colon, so they would form part of the gut. And it just felt like we needed a little bit of energy in here. So with magenta, it brings a nurturing, healing, softening energy, but with the tree of life, it brings that structure in as well. So it wants us to maybe be more regular. So this could be regular as in the movement of the colon, but it could also be just regular in our processing of information and life, because the colon is associated with metal energy, and metal energy in Chinese medicine is associated with analysis, logic, structuring, processing, and things like that. So really working with that. So I think on those processing logical levels, we need to bring a little bit of intuition in, maybe trusting the intuitive side a little bit more, trusting your gut a little bit more. If you get a sense or a feeling, follow that and trust that. The solar plexus has a yellow spiral sun, so no issues there. Liver has a pine green pyramid, sun pyramid, and then the spleen and pancreas area, that has a citrine sun pyramid. So in both cases, color wise they're good, shape wise they're good, so that's all fine and dandy. Then on the diaphragm there is a citrine corona orb. So corona orbs come up when there's either when we're busy with, or we need spiritual development, or it could be when there's attack, or it could be when we're not feeling safe, or when we're needing protection. So usually the big places where a corona orb would come up with either be protection or spiritual development. So either there's a growth spurt needed, or we need protection, or maybe a little bit of both. Remember, we've got the PSPs, the Purify, Sanctify, and Protect, on the palms. So it feels a little bit like perhaps there's protection needed. Also, since if you trace just straight down from that corona orb, right at the bottom of the image there is another very dark blue orb that is the Michael, Melchizedek, and Metatron orb, and it's sitting on the vertebral reflexes for the stomach meridian. And the stomach meridian would be about earth, and that would be about anxiety. And the Michael, Melchizedek, and Metatron is that triplicity of these three very powerful angelic forces that's coming in, that's holding space. And that could be a protective force. So in line with that, in the diaphragm, which will be the stomach and spleen, and all of those organs will be in direct contact with the diaphragm, we've got the citrine corona orb. So on some level there could be some anxiety, could be mild anxiety that's sitting in the background, perhaps you don't even know what it's about. How have you been sleeping? Have you been waking up at weird hours? I have these where I wake up about 3:30 It's not always, but it will normally happen 2 or 3 nights in a row. I had that last night. So with me, when that happens, I've got mantras and things that I go through, and breath work techniques and healing processes that I do, and then I fall asleep quite easily. So I just release the anxiety, and it's usually an anxiety that you go like, well, I don't really have anything to be anxious about. Why am I waking up? Why am I feeling this edgy? Like heart palpitations, maybe your whole body's buzzing and things like that. And there are some things happening out in the universe. I'm not going to speak about those now, but it could be that you are struggling with something like that. So find a process that's going to work for you. And if you do wake up at odd hours at night, like maybe 3:30 or something like that, maybe drop a comment down in the comments section. Let's talk about it. And perhaps what I can do is I can introduce some tools that you can use as well. Share some of these mantras and exercises and techniques that I do when this happens to me. Okay, so the citrine corona orb is also associated with Kutumi, and Kutumi is associated with joy. So as we have more joy and ease and flow, our breathing will change. And so with this on the diaphragm, it could indicate that your diaphragm is maybe tightening up and you're not breathing as deeply as you should. So really get into some nice deep breathing exercises. Try and get your breath to slow down. Perhaps start with 3 breaths a minute, and then work your way to 2 breaths a minute, and then 1 breath a minute. On the 1 breath a minute, you'll inhale for 20 seconds, hold for 20 seconds, exhale for 20 seconds. And you want to do this for a few minutes, at least 3 minutes. So it can be a little bit tough. So what you do is start with maybe breathe in for 15 seconds or maybe 10 seconds, hold for 10 seconds, exhale for 10 seconds. And then you can work up to 15 seconds and then 20 seconds. Okay, then on the heart center, we have a peacock 12-sided pyramid. This is a normal standard one in this location, so I'm not going to talk about that. Then on the lungs, either side of that, we've got rainbow spiral pyramids. So rainbow spiral pyramids, like on the knees, is bringing some awareness and focus here onto the lungs. Lungs again is associated with a metal energy, which is the same as what we've had on the colon. And so there's definitely a talking of this analysis, processing, logic, and getting structure going. But there's also an angle on intuition. On the lung points on the joints on the shoulders, we have green semispheres. So semispheres usually come up when there's like we need to pull energy in, but we also need to smooth out. So it's like a where the spiral pyramids, which is just diagonal from that, where they sort of really shake things up and but keeps it flowing in, screwing it in type thing, as in like a corkscrew type thing. With the semispheres, they've also got that ability to do that corkscrew, because in the inside of the semisphere is actually a very small spiral pyramid, and the sphere itself is keeping it very, very contained and quiet almost, but it's doing that movement to really anchor and massage into that location. Then on the thymus, so I just had to look on that side because the photo wasn't too clear. On the thymus, we've got a iridescent cosmic body, and so the thymus is about your immune system. It's about your spiritual development, and the cosmic body is about bringing balance and harmony to the physical body itself. Now these iridescent colors that we have, we've got one in the third eye, one in the thymus, and then in the palms of the hands. These are new colors that is coming in now with the tachyons. Before we only had peacock and Bermuda blue. So those are like the colors that we've got on the throat and next to the head and above the head, and all these rainbow spiral pyramids, they are all in the Bermuda blue and peacock. But the foil, or the we call it foils just for the for manufacturing side, the iridescent ones bring in a higher frequency, newer frequency. And so I think over time all of the Bermuda blues and peacocks will be replaced with this iridescent color, which is really magnificent. So the thymus here is calling on a physical level, we are stimulating the thymus so that we can work with that spiritual development and also boosting immune system. And what you can do just on a daily basis, just take your fingers together like a little, like that, like imagine you're holding a pencil between all of your fingers, and then just tap on your thymus, which is on the top part here of the sternum. The thymus is really big after birth and for the first 12 years of life, and when you get to teenage years, the thymus starts shrinking down, and it shrinks down to about the size of a pea. But it's not a round shape, it's actually this long, stretchy gland that sits behind the sternum. One of my Reiki students called it a cricky. A cricky is a little cricket, and so because for him it looked like some cricket sitting there, so he said this cricket is sitting behind his sternum. So if you tap on the sternum, we're stimulating, we're activating, we're telling our body, remember, I've got a sternum. I've got a thymus. Activate it, make it bigger, let it work for us. I found that people who do spiritual development actually have larger thymuses, and they don't quite know why yet. And so it's directly linked to spiritual development. Then on the throat, we've got an aqua semisphere. This one's a standard one that always goes here, so I'm not going to talk about that, but it does help to open the throat center so we can speak our truth and be our truth. Then the ones sitting on the carotid arteries, which is just above that, sitting under the chin, those ones are peacock igloo, and then on the ears we've got Bermuda blue igloo. So in both of these cases, the carotid artery one, what it does, it brings a lot of energy to the carotid arteries. If there's pressure building up there, it activates our parasympathetic nervous system. So this one is to get the parasympathetic nervous system up and running, which is our rest and digest state of being, so our calm state of being. And the ones in the ears are to bring balance to our body in general. Then on the temples, we've got clear 12-sided pyramids. And when the clear 12-sided pyramids come up here, we call it clarity. So it brings clarity in. So it's about really opening up your eyes so you can see what's going on, seeing the bigger picture, seeing what's really happening around. And then in the third eye, we have the Sri Yantra in the iridescent color. So Sri Yantra is all about opening up the pineal gland and getting that focus going. It is the yantra of the triangles. So yantra is that representation of sound, and it is these triangles that interlace with each other. Triangles pointing up, triangles pointing down, and they're all sitting together, and in the center point there's a bindi, or a little central focus point. So I'm sure you've seen that particular design before. Otherwise, just look for Sri Yantra, SRIYANTRA. Sorry, I'm not that good at spelling out loud. Sri Yantra. And it's quite a nice one to focus on for meditation. So this is really about opening up that space to add with the clarity that we have above that. Then in the crown, we've got a clear pyramid, standard. It's pointing up, so it's good. And then right on top, the last one that we have there is a Bermuda blue 12-sided pyramid. With all of these 12-sided pyramids, they bring an angelic presence in, so there's quite a beam of light that comes into today's session. Then what I did is I checked to see if we needed any Wands of Horus cards, and there's quite a few that came in. Actually, the entire deck came through. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting like 3 or 4, but the entire deck of 28 cards actually came through, and they each had a placement. So I don't think I've got a close-up. Do I have a close-up? Yes, I do. But I just want to see there's a few that's not in the close-up. So the ones that's not in the close-up would be on the shins. So on the right shin, we have the fire card, and on the left shin, we've got the Tiet. Fire is maybe to spark some fire, to really give you that impulse to move out of the past. The Tiet is associated with protection. It's called the Buckle of Isis. And so this is to show you that your path forward is protected and it's safe, and you looked after. So it's almost like giving you a bit of a fire and it's going whoosh, let's get you out of here, let's move. So it feels like almost like we may have been stuck for a while, and we're getting that little impulse to push out from where we are. Right at the bottom, where we've got the past, now, and future, that is our timeline where we're working. We've got the divine feminine sitting about like almost halfway in the past, and then the divine masculine is sitting just after now. And so the divine feminine is where we're coming from, and the divine masculine is where we're going. So the energy is moving in that direction. Actually, wait, no, I'm lying. It's going from the divine masculine towards the divine feminine. So it feels like whatever it is, wherever we're moving to, has a relevance or a point in the past that is holding us back. And so we've almost like have to go with this work that we're doing today. We're flying into the future so that we can go from there into the past, so that we can do the healing there, so that when we come to the now, everything is going to sort out, and into the future. It's a little bit of one of those time paradoxes. Don't even worry about that, don't even think about it. Because when I looked at that initially, I thought, oh, okay, we're going from the past into the future. But now that I look at it, I go like, wait. We're going masculine towards feminine, because the masculine is the giving energy and the divine feminine is the receptive, receiving energy. So we're actually moving towards the divine feminine, which is a little bit of a back time loop. So there's some healing that's taking us back to the past that's going to affect our future. Oh, exciting stuff. Okay, then close up. Here what I'll do is I'll start from the left and I'll work my way down to the right. So on just above the temples, we have the purple card, which is the synchronicity card, and we've got the air card, which is on the left hand side. So right is synchronicity, left is the air. So these are above the 12-sided pyramids. I wanted to get more information about the clarity that we're bringing in. Air is usually, when it comes up in a session, air is associated with the liver, with the large intestine and lungs. So analytics again, that whole sort of analyzing and processing and working through things. All of that's coming up again. Synchronicity from the past is saying like everything has its place, everything flows naturally, everything is easy, everything comes. So that's our intuitive side. So we're trying to get a balance going between the two. But air could also come up when there's electrosmog, like Wi-Fi radiation, cell phone towers and things like that, that's being cleared, and that is from the future. So that's good, because left is future side. Then we're moving down either side of the thymus. I wanted to get a little bit more information about the thymus and also the two lung points. And we got the Jed and the Kaibit. Jed is the backbone of Osiris, and that is that pink card, and that is about structure. So it's about bringing structure in, it's about restructuring, and it's about the DNA and rewriting DNA codes and getting things changed and upgraded. Kaibit or Shunyet is the shadow. So with Kaibit, this is not about, it could be our physical shadow. The Egyptians actually saw our shadow as a separate entity, as a different being that's got its own mind. But the shadow could also be seen as our shadow aspects. And so I would say with this Jed and Kaibit, it's wanting us to integrate our shadow aspects. So if there's still aspects of yourself that you don't like, or that you're trying to run away from and are wanting to cough, so there must be something here. And I'm actually going to pause so I can go drink some water and I can cough this out. Right, so we want to integrate the shadow. And so this is for any part of you that you don't like about yourself. The parts that we try to hide from the rest of the world, the parts that we try to tuck away, the parts where when they do come up, we feel guilty about it and we are hard on ourselves. So, for example, there's a belief that you're not allowed to be angry. And then when you do get angry, this angry persona comes out and you go, "Rah." And then when you're done with all of that, you go, oh, I shouldn't really get angry. I'm so bad. And you push yourself down. But that angry persona gives you the fire that it needs so that you can get things done. It gives you the fire so that you can open your throat center so you can say what you need. And so really what you want to do is you want to start integrating and working with these various shadow aspects. There's a wonderful book that you can read if you haven't done so yet. It's called The Dark Side of Light Chasers. The Dark Side of Light Chasers by Debbie Ford. It is available on Amazon, on Kindle, on paperback. It is available on Audible books as well. So yeah, I would highly recommend that. Get the book, read the book, or listen to the book. Do the exercises in there. She teaches you exactly how to work with all of these shadow aspects, and it will help to integrate and bring these into your life so that you can also be a more complete person, which is, I think, what's happening over here with this process. Then I wanted to get a bit of more clarity about that citrine corona orb on the diaphragm. And on the right side, we've got the receive card, the blue one. And on the left side, we have the union card. And so when we're looking at the diaphragm, actually the union one is a perfect one for this location, because the union card, actually the representation that it gives is of the mouth, the esophagus, the heart, and then next to it are these pots with lotuses in, or flowers, that represent lungs. And so here it's calling us back to the breath and to the lungs and the heart space. And it's also on the other side talking about receive. And if you are putting out into the world that you want to receive something, like you said, please universe, give me this or give me that. What a lot of people do is you ask for it and then you end up worrying about it, or you try really hard to make it happen. When you do that, you're not opening yourself up to actually receiving. So it's with receiving, there comes an openness and a relaxed state where you just allow it to come in. So what I invite you to do now is just exhale all of the air out of your lungs. Just go. And then just pause for a moment when you're there. Maybe close your eyes. Now relax your belly, relax your lungs, relax your entire body, and just allow the air to naturally flow back in. Don't breathe in, just allow it to flow in. Just feel how your body naturally inflates. Even if you don't think about it, your stomach inflates a little bit. You can actually feel how your lungs inflate towards the bottom. All of that happened naturally. You didn't have to go. You can, but you didn't have to. All you had to do was really relax everything. You relaxed all the muscles down the throat and down the back of the nose. You relaxed the chest, you relaxed the belly, you relaxed everything. The lungs are actually, they are springy, spongy. They're naturally open. That is their natural position, open. When we breathe out, we're actually squeezing them. And so when we let go of the squeeze, it naturally opens. And so there's an ease when you receive the air to come in again. And this is why we've got this receive card there, to remind us to be open and receptive to all of this. Then on the area of the sacral and the ovaries and also the hara, I wanted to get more clarity there. And so here we got Ak, which is your eternal soul, and the Ankh, the red one, which is life. And I'm not sure how I'm going to interpret that, but towards the past we've got the Ak. So this is where we're coming from, which is your internal soul. This is your combination of your Ba and your Ka. So it is your yin and your yang, and it's in perfect balance. It's your spiritual body almost. And then life on the other side is our physical life here. So in a way you've got physicality and you've got spirituality on either side of this, and then with them sitting together they form a union and a yin and yang, and a perfect balance around that. So perhaps what's lacking in the okay, maybe that's why what's lacking here in this area of the hara and the ovary chakras and the sacral is a lack of balance. And so these two cards are bringing us back to that. That also explains the tree of lives that we've got above and below on that. We're wanting to bring that structure in. Okay, good. Then below the base, these two cards wanted to come through. So we've got Shin, which is eternity, and eternity is associated with protection as well. It's a little bit more of a active protective measure. So what it does is it really expands around the entire auric field and it wraps you up in a protective field. So what the French call this is a cartouche. And so you'll see if you look at Egyptian mythologies or Egyptian writing, whenever they speak about a pharaoh's name, they would always have the pharaoh's name in a cartouche. So you've got this circle around it with sort of the binding on top, and it's just an extended form of the Shin. So this again takes us back to that idea that we are protected. Our auric field around us is protecting us. And the card just underneath that is Sekhem, which is power. And so our own personal power that we have is our own protection that we have as well. And so this is sitting around us. So I think this is quite a nice spread that we have. We also needed to bring in some radionics. And usually what I do with the radionics is I use the xyluruses, these small donuts, to dowse which number to go onto the pad for the energy that needs to be presented. But I was guided over here to place the different Wands of Horus cards. And I remember while I was placing these, I was like, wow, this is a good idea. Why haven't I thought of this before? So here it is. I'm not going to go into analysis about this because this is different frequency sets that are being sent out to us all at this point. And so I'm just going to allow those to do what they do. We will just look at the input. The input has the Neter Neteru, which is God of Gods, which is our connection to our God source or our God force, our source in general. And the output is a divine child. Output is what we are receiving. So we are the children of the creator or source. And so this energy is coming to us. And then also on the potentizer, we've got the Neter Neteru sitting in the regions of about 20 or so. And so normally things that are sitting up into the regions of 10, those would be more physical orientated. Up to about 20 would be more emotionally oriented, mentally emotional. And then up into the 30s would go more into the spiritual qualities. So the healing for today's session is definitely sitting in the regions of the mind and the emotion. And the dials on top, the 12 dials, is just the frequencies that are being sent out, and it's being sent out in a specific formation. And so there's no like each dial means anything. It's just the way that we need to receive our frequencies for now. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to grab the universal pendulums, and I'm just going to quickly dial in with all of that. I'm going to send in whatever frequencies we need. I don't have a photo of the pendulums up, but I'm sure you all remember these from before. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just reverse back to that image, and I'll keep that one on, and you get to see what I'm working with. And then as I'm going through with the universal pendulums, I will just let you know what color frequency we're working with. So let's quickly get these out, and which pendulum and all of those things. So I've got two, if you remember, and I'll post them in Patreon so you can see them again. So we've got a black one and a white one, and I'm working with a Merkabah set, and I'm just quickly getting myself organized over here. So the first pendulum that's coming up is the white one, and we're getting blue on the electric spectrum, and which is red. No, I'll just keep to electrics. I don't want to confuse these. We're working with the color blue, and we are on the second octave, which is associated with mental emotional stuff. And so I'm just allowing that one to spin. and do its job. I'm doing this on the fly, so I have not prepared any analysis for these. I also just maybe want to make a note of these so I don't forget. But blue is really good for pain, if there's any pain that you're going through. It's a calming energy, it sedates, and so yeah, let's just get that energy through. So this is, I'm sending this into our light code and into the bob that we're working with. It is still spinning, so we'll just allow that to do its job. Almost done. So you just be like a sponge and receive what you need to receive, yeah. Okay, so let me just quickly make a note here. Okay, and then next we've got the black coming up, and we're working on the magnetic frequency, and our color is red, and our octave is the third octave, which is associated with the physical body. So this is the longest string. It's probably over 1 meter long over here. So what this does is it produces a very big wave, as opposed to octave 1, which will be the spiritual octave, which produces smaller, finer waves. And so the color we're bringing through here is red, as I'd mentioned. And so this is a strengthening and stimulating energy that comes through. And it's also really good at revitalizing the energy. It expands our field. So normally where blue sort of pulls the field in, what red does is it expands it, it makes it bigger, it intensifies it. So it feels almost like we pulled the energy in really tight on a mental emotional level, and now on a physical level we're pushing the energy out, we're making it bigger, we're puffing it up, getting all the circulation going in the body. So if there's any physical healing that needs to take place here, this is going to help that. Oh, okay, that spin is done. Okay, then we're going back to our white pendulum, and we are working with silver. And oops, sorry, not silver, gold. Gold, and I'm working on the electric level. Where's my gold? Gold on the electric level, and we're working on the second octave, which is the mental emotional side. So bringing gold frequency in. And so gold is like a universal antidepressant. It purifies our mind of all negative thoughts. It strengthens our willpower. And it's got a regenerating quality to that. Okay, this one spins quite quick and it seems to be almost done. Oh, there we go. That one's done. So I just invite you to just pay attention to what you're feeling within your body as we are working. Next we're working with green quality on the white pendulum, working on the electromagnetic spectrum, and we are on the first octave, and so this is bringing the energy in on the spiritual level. So going, oops, sorry, that's me dropping the pendulum onto the desk. So this is a very short string on this one. And so green is about detoxification, it purifies, it balances, and it clears the energy. And this is on the spiritual level. So just letting it spin. Just be aware of any sensations you may feel within the body. Starting to slow down. almost there we go. Then we've got, now we have silver. I was getting confused between my little shorthand notes. So we are on the electric band, and I'm working with silver, and it's on second octave, and that's your mental and emotional side again. So bringing silver through. So second octave is sort of medium length string. Okay, this one's spinning away. So silver is all about purification as well, getting all the toxins out, and we're working on the mental emotional level. Strengthens our creative power, and it just supports us on all levels. Helps us to actually implement our ideas, so it helps us with our focus. And so if we remember with our gold and the pink and also the magenta around the sacral, ovaries and the hara line, this is really about getting that focus in on this area. Okay, spinning is coming to a slow down, and there we go, that's done. Okay, and then we're moving over to the black pendulum, and we're working the magnetic level, and we've got indigo. Okay, so this most likely means this is our last one, because usually when indigo comes up, it is last stop. Because indigo, let me just quickly get this string, this is a very long one, it's in the third octave, so we work in the physical body. Okay, that's going. So usually when indigo comes up, it's that contracting of the energy field again. So initially we started with contracting, and then we pushed it out, we puffed it up, and now we're coming to contract it again and to seal the energy. So normally when I work with these universal pendulums, when indigo comes up, for me that's like signed, sealed, delivered. I know, job done. I normally check just to see if we need to do any more, but usually when indigo comes up, it's like full stop, done. Okay, so it's spinning. Still going. Slowing down. Here we go. Okay, so just checking in. No more spins needed. That is all done. Okay. So that's our story for today. I'm going to do a little bit more work on the side here with the chart, and I'm going to keep this particular grid up for at least the next 24 hours because I don't have any clients for tachyons until then. But as soon as I've got the next tachyon client, I'm going to have to take all of that down. I'm going to try and keep this grid in place for as long as possible, but this moment is always burnt into this moment in time forever and ever, and we can always reach it from the past or the future or from wherever. And so whenever you tune in using this particular light code and perhaps listening to this recording or maybe just looking at the images, you are able to tap back into this healing session. Especially if we look at if you sort of forward through to the part where I'm working with the pendulums, because that is when that frequency is being sent out. But overall, we've got the frequency being sent out by the radionics as well, which is doing their thing. So I'm going to just do some other work here and seal the energies in. And so this is it for today's session. If there is any homework, I would recommend going through that book that I mentioned, the Debbie Ford book. Dark Side of Light Chasers. Even if you have read it before, maybe just reread it, maybe just revisit some of those exercises and see if you can integrate some of these shadow aspects. I am sending you so much love and light, and it's always such a pleasure to do this work with you, and I can't wait to see you in our next session. Sending you lots of love. Take care. Bye.